The Joe Rogan Experience.
Gentlemen, anyway.
Yes, sir.
Good
We're in
to see you.
Texas.
Always great
Yeah,
to be
welcome.
here with you.
Yeah, and another mover. You're a mover here as well.
Yep. Spent last month with his parents looking for a house, and I think we've found a nice house to move into in Spring, Texas.
What pushed you over the edge?
All the bullshit going on in California, the laws, the restrictions, the taxes, 13.3%, the governor, the mayor, the congressmen, the senators. Is that enough?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
enough.
good.
I second all that. That's
Yeah,
what moved.
But
That's exactly
as a doctor,
Right.
when you look at the lockdowns, like this is where it gets really controversial, right? Because people are saying
Correct.
that the whole reason for doing this is to protect people because the emergency rooms are overcrowded, and you don't think that's a suitable.
No, I think restrictions of our rights is a key issue there. In contrasting what has been going on in Texas outside of Austin, but in Houston and other places, they're reasonable. Abbott has been very reasonable about certain factors that I love. We're a law-abiding state, okay? We believe in individual rights. California is the opposite.
Yeah.
How can you live pleasantly, regardless of what occupation you're in? How can you live there, understanding that every movement that you're doing is under surveillance? Cops are coming to your house during Thanksgiving, or
Is that happening though? I know.
No,
There's something happened in Canada. It was a really disturbing thing. Did you see about
I
that?
did
Yeah,
see
I
in
saw it.
Canada.
They came in like full fucking Gestapo mode, and
Just a family.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
one
they had 5 people in the house or something like
Yep.
that, and people ratted them out. Like, it's just as soon as you make something a law, and then you send cops out to enforce that, and the cops think they're justified, and you get a few dumb cops, and then they do something like this. It just lets everybody know, like, oh, this is why it's dangerous to have too many restrictions, because then you have people that have to enforce those restrictions.
Right, and they're not doing their job. I mean, the sheriff and the head of police in California or in Los Angeles came out and said they wouldn't uphold the restrictions that Newsom was putting in, I think in San Francisco also,
Yeah.
because it would
Orange
take them
County,
away from Orange County. It would take them away from their ability to do the real work, protecting the citizens, not arresting them.
Yeah, it's
What happened in Staten Island is just mind-boggling, with that restaurateur was arrested and given a $10,000 a day fine for having his restaurant open. He was social distancing. He had the shields and protection. Everyone was wearing a mask. But because they had locked down Staten Island so tightly, they're devastating all the businesses there. But he went up against it.
It just seems to me that the amount of money that it would have cost to open up new ICU rooms and figure out a way to staff them would have been far less than the amount of money that it's costing all these people to lose their businesses, all these people to stop working.
Right.
It just seems rational that, like, the amount of money you could have figured out a way to tax people, like say, hey, we're going to let everybody open up, but we need a temporary tax on sales of whatever that'll just go to help this. And people probably would have said, okay, well, it'll just keep, and give people the opportunity. Like, you have your options. You have your rights. You can choose to go to work, choose to go to these restaurants, choose to go to these bars, and we'll figure out some way to
Wasn't
open up
New
more.
York City doing something like that?
I don't know where
I think they were doing some in restaurants. They were adding a small amount of additional tax to compensate for the COVID.
Well, even they shut down indoor dining.
Yeah,
and then
completely.
Yeah,
but
recently.
at least they have outdoor dining, which is hilarious. New York has it, and it's fucking freezing and snowing. L.A. doesn't have it. And then the woman who votes, it's one woman who decides to shut everything down, goes to dinner outside the day she does it and lied and said the reason why she was doing it is because her favorite restaurant, and she wanted to say she was sorry to the staff and apologize for what they had to do. Didn't talk to anybody there. Full-on lie.
Right.
The people who work there going, she didn't talk to us.
Yeah.
This is not, she
rules
just got caught.
rules don't count for them. Yeah.
It's just, I get that people want to stay safe, but as a doctor, does this make sense to you? Like, what?
No, and on my list I have a couple of the articles. It doesn't make sense when you look at California in the repetitive manner in which they put a lockdown. We should see if it's effective. The numbers of cases dropping, but they're not. They're going up. So what does it tell us? It tells us that the masks aren't working. The 6 feet of separation is not working. There's some other element that's out there that's creating, negating all the protective modalities that they're doing. So why lock down, the state? Allow people to have their employment.
But check me if I'm wrong, but haven't cases gone down over the last 2 weeks since everything's been completely locked up?
No, they've been.
One day they went up, I know, and I saw that yesterday.
Spike.
Newsom said there's going to be a surge on top of a surge they're
Right.
waiting for right
And
now.
they're talking
How the fuck's
about
he know?
Hey, listen,
because he's a doctor.
He's the grand poobah.
That's it.
Are they using the PCR test to validate that? That's a huge question.
They're using the PCR test and they're using the rapid one, but they're not accurate. They're not accurate. They're just something we have now to utilize and then put a lot of credibility on it. The difference between the different PCR testing is that
So there's a spike around Christmas time, which is supposedly due to what? Is the idea that it's due to gatherings? Is it so? It's because they were trying to say that it was related to Thanksgiving. So between October, November,
Yeah, it's
end of
30
November, but if you look at it, it seems like 2 weeks after the end of November. That would make sense, right? That would be right around. Show me like. Yeah, well, that's longer than 2 weeks, right? Because it seems like it kicked in. The spikes kicked in right around. What is the first big spike right there? What is that? The 16th. Well, that's kind of 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks-ish.
I would want to know what cycles they're testing on, if there's any changes of the PCR test.
I believe this is hospitalizations, though, right? Or is this new cases?
there's new cases.
Yeah. It's look, it's not good, but someone pointed out that the CDC website has finally got information on it about vitamin D and some other things.
Right.
They just put it on there, just in December. We're just like, Jesus, guys, 9 months into a fucking
That's right.
pandemic, and you just started putting things on about vitamins and the importance of nutrition. Catch new episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience for free only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips. Easily, seamlessly switch between video and audio experience. On Spotify, you can listen to the JRE in the background while using other apps and can download episodes to save on data cost, all for free. Spotify is absolutely free. You don't have to have a premium account to watch new JRE episodes. You just need to search for the JRE on your Spotify app. Go to Spotify now to get this full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.